healing, like I'm thinking of like rolfing practice where
Sure.
it can like
Where you're
activate some
take
really
a lot of endorphins.
yeah, like a lot of intense sensations that could activate like a sympathetic response, but like the transition to the parasympathetic, like in these adjustments, like I don't know, I'm curious about like that, I guess, magic
It's a little bit
in
of a
that.
journey, kind of.
Yeah.
Like the transitionary point, like that in between.
There are
And noticing
definitely
it and then fostering it.
like there are strategies that if you find you're like really drawn to that kind of work, like you can go deeper into that. If you get really into clinical, then you're gonna do more stuff where you're helping people manage the sympathetic engagement for a time, and then be able to switch into parasympathetic without necessarily like dragging them out of that.
I think that would be the
so,
better
like-
process, is learning how to manage it, recognizing it. Because, I mean, that's pretty much what I've been experiencing, is learning how to recognize it, manage it, and then bringing myself back into this state on a more consistent, continuous, every
Right.
moment.
Right.
reality
And if
again.
we're talking about just for ourselves, for our
Right.
own management, it's like it's literally getting into the micro habits of re-engaging the parasympathetic, of like you have a weird traffic moment and you flood a little adrenaline, you flood a little cortisol, and now you lengthen out those out breaths.
Yeah.
You just give yourself 5 minutes of lengthening out the out breaths. You take some sips of water. Your sympathetic system is always going to get engaged by stimulation to the mouth.
Oh, is that why people
Um,
smoke too?
Parasympathetic or
That's what I used to always say.
Yeah.
It's just doing this
Right.
that makes me feel better.
Tactile.
Yeah, it's like a
any
hand to
kind
mouth
of like
thing.
people doing like this fidgety stuff, like is helping get that like pathway of the mind focused inside the body, which is where the parasympathetic activity is happening, right? Because this whole sympathetic engagement, we ended up doing a lot more like nervous system stuff today, but
this
this
is
is it's important, yeah. So when we're in a sympathetic state cognitively, when the body is in a sympathetic state, our cognition is pointed and focused outward, and it's on the environment. It's scanning for danger, and it's in a state of expecting that we need to keep ourselves actively safe. When the body goes into the parasympathetic mode, then we're going to have more diffused awareness. We're going to have a lot finer sensory awareness. We're going to take in the details of what our sensory organs are picking up with more complete information. We're going to have longer breaths. We're going to have better heart rate variability, which means like basically how much the speed of the heart is adjusting to accommodate the oxygen available, the needs of oxygen in the body, the function of the nervous system, like how responsive it is. Because like a really healthy heartbeat is not like a metronome just pounding through. It's like it's adjusting on a micro level, and that's where we read the difference there. And so that'll improve with parasympathetic. So anything that you can do to start the things that the parasympathetic system would do on a conscious level is going to accelerate everything else that the parasympathetic system does. And so when we take over that like self-responsibility of like our own emotions, our own actions, our own expression in life, our energetics, it's teeny tiny things happening like literally every 5 minutes that you're consciously doing to intervene on your parasympathetic system. Because the automation inside of our current setup, current society, like we're
They
just
just
not
want you
really
like that.
physically adapted to
Yeah.
handle this on automatic.
And this isn't encouraged or well looked upon almost, this state.
Right.
I was gonna say, when I hear people say, you know, and like, no, it didn't feel right. That means they're in this state and they're able to
That they're
digest, hear their intuition, they're here. Where you're saying in that sympathetic state, she did this and he did that, and when
Right.
you're
that
and when you're
external-
an external, then there's like pronouns all over the place.
We're gonna tend
And
to
I hear a bunch of
externalize our
pronouns, I'm
problems and see them as happening outside of
Yeah,
ourselves.
the
We're gonna
pronouns
be
show up.
weak at
Yeah.
interpreting
Yeah.
our own sensations
Yeah.
as information that's inside of us.
Yeah.
We're gonna interpret those sensations as facts about the world because we're on an outward gaze.
Like nonviolent communication with our parents.
Yes.
Very,
And that,
very.
you know, unfortunately, alcoholism
Mhm.
definitely puts people in a consistent, if not permanent state of being sympathetic.
And generally,
Yeah.
like any kind of addictive behavior is
Or
a
addictive
response
behavior,
to
Yeah.
not having the tools to intervene consciously when you need to go back parasympathetic. It's going to be a response to being stuck in a sympathetic state is quite unpleasant. It
And
is
that's
quite
what they call
unpleasant.
chewing the tube.
And right, and so we're gonna but if you are stuck there and you're having to problem solve from that level of consciousness, then you're going to keep reaching outside of yourself for some tools. When you get even a smidge of conscious internal responsibility and relationship with your parasympathetic system, then you start populating the tools of what you can reach for that will adjust your sensation of your environment and your internal sensation. And this is where we're right alongside our clients and like showing them a moment, you know, like taking them through a time where they can be aware of what's inside of themselves and allow that external awareness to fade out. And that's really like, you know, like there's a handful of things that clients like really rate massage therapists on after the fact. Like number one is basically like, is your space on your body physically clean? That's like gonna pop off immediately.
What is it?
Just being physically clean. Like that's the most obvious first thing that clients are gonna judge you on.
That's funny.
And right after that is
look
like,
down at your
did I get to that like dreamy place? You know, like that if they lay there and you're technically doing fine